All right, my friends, good morning. Good morning. This is a different topic altogether. Let me bring the microphone in a little bit closer there. So, if you are a musician, I guess mostly this is going to apply to my musician audience. If you are a musician and you have ever attended an open jam, not to be confused with an open mic, we'll cover the difference on that. And this is just going to be a brief broadcast. We just want to see, actually this is the first time I've actually done a live stream that was scheduled. So I don't know if there's going to be any difference, benefit, or pros, cons, whatever. That's a different video altogether, but just to kind of get an idea on whether or not scheduling it is beneficial so that people can have the option to be notified, I guess. Not even sure about how the notifications seem to work or not work. Anyway, we're going to cover some different things today. And why do I bring it up? Well, I bring it up because I've been hosting a jam for 14 years at one venue, 14 years. And whenever I say that, it's hard to actually even comprehend myself that I'm actually saying that. But in any case, I see that I want to make a change in the lighting here. Since we got time there, let's cut off that light. Yeah, that seems better. Right off the bat, that definitely is better. Okay. Lighting. That's another video. Yes, live streaming, photography, lighting, posing. There's a lot of topics that we could cover on these broadcasts on this channel if you like. I'm not an expert at any one particular thing, but being as old as I am, gone around the sun as many times as I have, assuming that the world is round and not flat. Another video right there. You will find comedy, cynicism, borderline sometimes sarcasm, but not so much on this broadcast. My intent today here is just to deliver some helpful hints and tips on how to run a successful jam. So without any further ado, let me just kind of set the precedence on why, and welcome your comments, questions, and I invite you to subscribe, share, all that stuff. Every social media platform has their own words: share, like, follow, subscribe. Aside from that, I've been doing music for my whole life, actually, and photography. So those are the two areas that work-wise I've actually been paid to do my entire life. There's other projects that I've gotten sucked into and become quite proficient at just by being a homeowner. So there's some DIY videos that I've put out. Like one popular one is how to build a stock tank swimming pool. Not one of those galvanized steel ones that rust after you start throwing some chlorine tablets in it and you realize that was a bad idea. There are some videos that I've got out there on that. But this one today is about how to host an open jam. And there's different categories of music. For example, there's rock, there's blues, there's country. And I will cover those three, the reasons why I mentioned those three for starters. So let me get this graphic pulled up on the screen over here. It's going to be too big at first. I apologize, but I am going to make it smaller. And I'll just bring my show notes over to here. Oh, well, it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. So that's perfect. Good to know. Okay, so hosting an open jam. First of all, I have had 14 years of experience in doing this. And like I say, all at one venue and all with the same core band members. Three-piece band, started out as four originally, but the one co-founder of the Blues Jam went on to be with the Lord maybe about 8 years ago, I'm going to take a guess, something like that. And I actually was doing the jam by myself before that time. So 14 years been working at one place, a fish camp of all places, and wasn't even looking for a job there. It just kind of fell out of the sky. And they are very, very very ethical business people. They care about their customers, they care about the help that they hire, and they care about the entertainment that they have hired. Over the years, we have been, when I say we, I mean Parlor Jones Project. I refer to any of the musicians that I work with to be part of the project because I believe in equal pay. I believe in distributing tips evenly, as well as the burden of running the jam. Like, I don't bring a drum set. The drummer brings his drum set. The drummer doesn't care. He actually appreciates when people respect his equipment, but he doesn't mind people he's never met playing on his drums. So sometimes he's found out they don't treat his drums as nicely as they should, like hitting the skins a little bit too hard. Never seen anybody rip a skin, maybe once, but who knows? Guitar strings break. Most people do bring their own guitars because they just like that, but they don't have to bring amplifiers, even though they do still want to bring their own amplifier. That's a topic where sometimes their amp will be way overpowered for the venue. For example, I use a Fender Blues Junior. There's other amps, but they're all within the same wattage range, about 15 watts, let's say 15 watts, 20 watts, okay, 25. Once you start getting up to like 75 watt Marshall stacks and heads and 100 watt amplifiers, then you start finding that you can't get the tone out of it because you've got to put the tone somewhere around 40% to get the tone that the amplifier is built. So like when I say 40%, if your volume control goes up to 10, you might have to put it to 6. And 6 is going to be deafening loud in some smaller rooms. Inside, outside, that's a topic you'll see on that list right there too. So the full back line, let's start with that. The full back line is provided in an open jam. The drummer brings his drum set, all the cymbals and stands and all that. The bass player brings his bass amp and maybe an additional amp rig in case one goes out. You got to be prepared for the unexpected. And I bring my amplifier. So there's usually at least one other amplifier that is accessible for another guitar player, harmonica player, anybody to come up and plug into the system. All they do is bring their guitar. And many times they'll say, oh, this is my first time here and I wish that I would have known about it, so I'm just going to listen today. And we will offer, do you want to use one of my guitars? I don't bring my finest guitars, but I usually have a beater guitar that if somebody wants to play that, I don't mind. They break a string, strings break all the time. So full back line is provided and pretty much necessary if you're going to run an open jam. Signage is important. Like I'll just get rid of this for a second right there. So if you notice on the back wall, we have a banner and it's about 6 feet long, maybe 2.5, 3 feet wide. Get those made up at a sign shop, Office Depot, Kinko's, all those kind of places make sign banners. Online, you can get them done. I think Vistaprint might have done mine. No affiliation with any of these people. So a sign is important so that people know who you are, and you can put whatever you want on the sign. In my case, it says CDs available, listen online, Spotify, all that stuff. It's always up there. And then, of course, as you can see behind me, the place that you're playing, they usually have their own sign too. So you will need to have a sign-up sheet. A sign-up sheet is important so that people can come in, and if you're in the middle of a set playing your opening set, which is how it usually starts off, your core band starts off the set, and then if you have a guitar player come in and a harmonica player, other drummers, they sign up on the sign-up sheet, and you as the host are responsible for trying to keep everybody happy, which is not an easy job. So usually I will tell people that I try to just go down the list in order of who got there first. So if let's say it's a 4-hour jam, like our jam at one location is 4 hours, one it's 3 hours. It's what you work out with the venue. And If you are going to try to get everybody up, you have to try to allocate how much time you need to give everybody. Keep in mind, I'm going to just come back to that in a second, but you want to be able to pair people off who are going to be complementary to the rest of the set. You don't need two bass players up there. You don't really need two drummers up there. Two guitarists works, a guitar player and a keyboard. You want to try to keep it simple but full sounding so that there's a repertoire that can sound good. You know, like if you're going to play Light My Fire, for example, it's kind of hard to do that without an organ sound in there. There's certain songs that without a piano sound. So electronic keyboards these days are really, really good. We do not provide the keyboard, although sometimes we have, but it's just more equipment to bring. So if somebody wants to bring a keyboard, then they can certainly do that. Personality is important. There's some people that run some jams in any town, in any city, in any, the USA, and they run a jam that's really got some great talented people, but the host has got a really crappy, I'll use the word crappy, attitude and does not make the jammers feel welcome. I get a lot of people for 14 years saying that I run the best jam around. I'm not blowing my own horn. I'm just telling you what I hear a lot of people say over the years. And all I try to do is just treat people with respect and be real. And when I say things over the microphone, I talk to my audience like they're friends. I talk to them just like if they've never been there before. I will, greet them and make them feel welcome to, request a song, let me know if they want to jam, sing. Also, it's important to have a marketing partnership with the venue that you're at. And I say that in the sense like you can suggest what day you'd like to do it. Musicians, a lot of times, are getting paid top dollar to play on Friday nights, Saturdays, and weekends in general. So, you may want to run a jam on a weeknight. And weeknight jams are going to be more successful than weekday jams because a lot of people work during the day. So those things come into play when you're working out the details with the venue. What days do they want? What days are good for you? What hours are good? And then the money is always going to come down to the level that you are at. Do you want to just play for the enjoyment and money is not an issue? Do you have bills to pay? Do you have equipment to maintain? Do you have equipment you want to purchase to make your stage presence even better? All those things come into play. And that's just something that you can work out with your band members and the venue. But it is a marketing partnership because if you're not bringing them customers or the customers they have staying longer and drinking more beverages and eating more food, then it's not necessarily only about bringing new customers. I know a lot of bars, they think, well, if I hire your band, how many new customers am I going to bring? Well, I don't know the answer to that, but I do tell people I can't guarantee you that we're going to bring any new customers that in the sense of that are going to come to your place the day after we're jamming. So they're coming on a day that we're jamming. They're primarily coming to hear the band and the other musicians play music. So if you have the ability to introduce them to things on the venue's menu, whether it be beverages, specialty drinks, food items, help plug those when you're on the stage so that people, you've gone to a restaurant you've never been before and you don't know what people order and you're just staring at the menu and you're trying to get your food order in, but you don't know what to order. Help them out. Tell them, this place has got the best hamburgers. This place has got the best clam strips. This place has got the best swamp cabbage, which in the case of this fish camp, they're known for their their fish sandwiches are excellent too. Fresh fried cod sandwiches. Anyway, so marketing with the partnership with the venue is important. And then the type of patron that you attract. If you're a rowdy heavy metal band or a really heavy drinking crowd and the people that you draw to this venue are going to experience people getting in fistfights and barroom brawls, and they're going to have to call the cops out ever. In 14 years, they've never had to call the cops to our place. But if they have to do that once, certainly more than once, you can rest assured that your band will not be continued to be playing at the open jam that you have tried to establish and put so much work into. Frequency. Frequency is another factor. Sometimes venues will say, well, we'll give it a try. We'll try it one time and see what kind of a crowd you bring. One time of anything is probably not going to work in any kind of business. Try opening a hardware store and we're going to sell everything that you could find in any hardware store, but we're going to be open for one day. Kind of ridiculous concept, right? So you got to be planned to be open for business for a certain degree of time. So I know a lot of open jams, they're weekly. Some of them are twice a month, maybe like the first and third day of the week, first and third Thursday or first and third Sunday, whatever. And some of them are once a month. Those are kind of more of like special events. They're not like an open jam. Once you get into anything more than every Sunday or every Thursday night, then you have to rely on the person that has gone to your jam and enjoys going with wondering, what week is this? Is this the week that their jam is going on? And if you're not making it known on your social media platform, then how are they to know? You can call every single person you know and tell them, hey, we're going to be playing. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work you shouldn't need to do. So frequency of how often your jam is really important to them knowing. If they know you have a jam on Sundays and your jam is every Sunday, that venue can count on there being people coming in to hear you play on that Sunday. They don't have to try to figure out what Sunday is it. I can tell you that we were every Sunday for a long time, and then when business got slow due to some hurricanes, then it switched to every other Sunday. And sometimes people will they'll call me up and say, hey, I thought you were playing yesterday, and we went down to the fish camp and you weren't there, so we just turned around and left. But meanwhile, this place is not really just like across town. It's almost across the state. So sometimes when people drive that far, they've wasted gas money if they came there to listen to music and eat and drink. But if all they're going to come to do is spend gas money and eat and drink and spend more money, but they're not going to be able to go there for what they originally went there for, they may not ever come back again if they don't have a way of knowing. So you have to publicize what your frequency is. The way to best to do that is on social media. For example, let me pull up this little screenshot here. So this is a different venue. I'll just drag it over to this side of the screen right there. So this is a calendar events taking it into the beginning of April. And you if you have some skills on how to put flyers together, then you can post the dates, the address of the location, little snippet about what it is that you do. Like on this, it says, immerse yourself in the thunderous beats and the raw energy of live rock and blues performances of Parlor Jones Project and friends that will amaze you. And then just put the time and the dates that you're there. And then don't forget, if the place you're playing has a logo, incorporate their logo on that promo piece. And then where do you put it? Wherever you have social media platforms. Do you have Facebook? It seems like everybody has a Facebook page, or one or two or three. It's hard to keep track of sometimes when you get a friend request from somebody you thought, I'm already friends with them. And then you go, wait a minute, am I going to be hacked? Is this a hacked account? And now somebody wants me to click on this, and now your page doesn't work anymore. So social media platforms can get tricky. There's Instagram, there's X, there's Truth Social, there's Getter, there's obviously so many to mention. So wherever you have a promo piece, feel free to put it out there so people can see your schedule. And then, of course, if they're following you, it's that much easier for them to know when the jam is. And then plug the venue, like I said earlier, on their offerings. if they have a specialty drink or a special item on their food menu, help plug it so that people go in and say, hey, Parlor Jones was telling me about your incredible fried cod sandwich. And he said that, what he does is he orders it with a side order of mild hot wing sauce. And instead of blue cheese, he gets ranch dressing, and he just drizzles that over the top of the fish. And it's got lettuce and tomatoes and pickles and on a really big scrumptious bun. I mean, this fried cod sandwich is like huge. So, get people that are at your venue knowing that you care about their business. It's not a self-centered thing like, how much are you going to pay my band? If it doesn't make both people happy, it isn't going to last. And that goes for the same thing with the treating the band members equal. I know some people that host a jam, even if they have a regular band, they think, oh, I should get more. The other guys, they're the underlings, and they don't deserve to get paid what I get paid. To me, that's just pure BS. If you're going to want loyalty and dependability for a band member, treat them like you would treat yourself. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, inside versus outside. Some places, they only have an outside stage. Some of them have somewhat of a covering. Some of them don't even have a stage. They have a poured slab and maybe an overhang that you could stand under. If rain comes down sideways, which in Central Florida it does quite often, you never know which way it's going to come from. So if your equipment is going to be ruined by rain, then you have to take into consideration, is the weather going to affect the jam taking place? Here in Florida, the only thing that seems to ever really affect it is if there's a hurricane sitting above you or just off the coast threatening the way the day could go. So outside is iffy. Inside can also be iffy in cases like that, because if they're not going to have customers come out because there's a blizzard or something like that, then it may be the kind of thing that your jam is going to be contingent on weather considerations. Open mic versus open jam. Now, this is an area that recently has become a topic, and over the years, over 14 years, has resurfaced every once in a while. But in an open jam situation, if it's billed as a blues jam or a classic rock and blues jam, then people know that it's going to be, hey, maybe I'll get to go up and play with the band. And then all these people get to play with all these different people, and the audience is amazed. Sometimes people will come up to me and say, you mean the guys that are on stage when I'm off stage and there's a new set of musicians up there? Sometimes the patrons of the restaurant will say, you mean the guys that are playing right now, they're not in a regular band by themselves? No, they're just playing together for the first time. Wow, so that's amazing. Well, your band must get together and rehearse all the time, right? No, in 14 years, my band has rehearsed, I believe, 3 times, and that was in the first year or maybe 2. But no, seasoned musicians are really capable of working with others. And that's a different topic. Sometimes they do not play well with others. And I don't mean play well musically. I mean play well personality-wise. There are people that will come up to you if you're hosting a jam and say, oh, I want to go up next. Oh, don't put me up with that guy. He really sucks on guitar. Or don't put me up with that drummer. He can't hold a beat together. Or they sound like crap. You know what? Everybody sounds like crap when they first start playing. So I look at my jam, I guess, which is one of the things that makes it kind of successful. I look at my jam as a learning ground for people to know how and what to expect from a jam and how to play well with others. So I know that I play better, at least I hope I play better than I did 50 years ago or 20 years ago or even 4 years ago. Experience, nothing replaces experience. So if you want to make jammers that are not so good today feel welcome, I guarantee you, if you make them feel welcome and they get a chance to play with other people that are patient, that have the same mentality of letting newbies have an opportunity to get better, they're going to get better, and they're going to thank you. And other jammers have come up to me and said, I used to be in a band 25 years ago, and I hung it up and I put my guitar under the bed, and I haven't played in years, but you actually got me back into playing again. And I can think of a guitar player and a drummer that both said that to me, and now they're playing all the time at different gigs around town, and they said that if it wasn't for me, that wouldn't be the case. So that's a very rewarding thing to hear people tell you when you're hosting a jam. And I like hearing it. What can I tell you? I like getting paid too. It's really nice to get paid for playing your musical instrument. And anybody that has run a jam or been a part of a jam situation knows that if you're getting paid, you're not really getting paid minimum wage like most other jobs. You're getting paid something that you're happy with because you worked that out with the details of the venue, like I said earlier. And if you are getting paid, you're more than likely going to assume that you're getting paid for setting the equipment up and transporting it and breaking it down and bringing it back. That's almost equivalent to the amount of time that the jam will be going on. And if you are only playing for the first hour of a 4-hour jam, then you are certainly spending more time transporting and setting equipment up than you are actually playing time. So yeah, go into it with the mindset that you're getting paid to set up equipment, and a side benefit is you get to play your guitar or drums or whatever. So an open mic is a different situation. Open mic versus open jam. Open jam is much more successful, in my opinion. Not that I've really done an open mic, but open mics sometimes seem to be where it's going. Because if people are playing songs that, let's say you have a husband and wife and they're playing some songs that they know, but nobody else knows. And you're playing songs that are in a weird, strange key with minors and majors, and it goes back and forth between the verse and the chorus and the bridge. There's plenty of songs that are like that we do play at the jam, but you play them with who knows the song. If you have two other players up on the stage with you that have never played with you, and you say, hey, do you know how to play Little Wing by Hendrix? Or do you know how to play You May Be Right by Billy Joel? They're just going to be lost standing up there feeling like a fool, not playing, but standing on the stage. So that brings it to, I'll jump to the playing. Oh, yeah, it says playing time versus proximity. Some places are easy to get to, convenient for people to drive from their house to your venue. But if somebody has to drive 35 minutes one way, like I touched on earlier, to find out that you're not playing that day, even if you are playing that day, if they have to drive 35 minutes to get to you and wait for 35 minutes to an hour to get called up on stage, depending on how busy the day is, then if they only get to play 2 or 3 songs, like some of the places that I know host jams, and they say, well, you've got 3 songs. I wouldn't drive an hour or more to play for free 3 songs. Just not going to happen. So the playing time versus the proximity to where they live is really important. I like to give people a minimum of 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes, and sometimes even longer if it's a light turnout, because the music is still going to be good and the time is just going to fly by. And if it is a really, really busy day and you do cut somebody's set shorter, you could actually have them come up more than once, either with new musicians or some of the same musicians they were already up there with, if they've got some kind of a set list they've worked out. I hope you are finding this video interesting if you clicked on it. It is packed with 14 years of information just to do with the jam alone. So open mic, just like I said, an open mic, it's more of like a cafe poetry reading. I'll equate it to a poetry reading coffee shop. that maybe you'll have a guy go up there or a girl go up there and they'll play an acoustic guitar and they'll play 4 of their favorite songs like they're auditioning for a gig at the place, which sometimes that is why the place will set it up. They'll try to get some, free entertainment. I'm not saying that about the places that I host, because that understanding is dealt with from the beginning. They know that we're coming there to be a partnership with them. So open mic, you're going to have maybe somebody play by themselves, maybe as a duet, and you're going to have the other people that are waiting for maybe musicians to be called up 1 or 2 at a time, and you're going to get maybe 3 acts up there in 4 hours, or maybe 4 acts up there in 3 hours or something like that. But you're going to satisfy more musicians and more patrons listening to a more diverse variety of music. I mean, it's going to be hard to have one acoustic guitar player, even if he does sing great, play a rendition of Oye Como Va by Santana, or any number of songs, Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. Yeah, it'll be interesting and pleasing to a musician, but if somebody's going there to hear something that resembles a song they've heard on the radio, open mics are not going to usually do it. So you got to pick. Are you going to run an open mic or an open jam? Big difference. Dig into that more if you have any questions. And we covered playing time versus proximity. The type of music goes right back to that same thing I was just talking about earlier, where I said the type of patrons and jammers that are attracted. If you're going to play a jam session, you're going to have a much higher success rate with playing country or blues or rock, because primarily musicians know what I'm talking about here. We're talking about the 1-4-5 rule. So if something is in the key of E, 1-4-5 would be E, A, and B. If you're in the key of A, it's A, D, and E. And if you're in the key of G, it's G, C, and D. If you're in the key of F, it's F, B flat, and C. So 1-4-5 progressions are going to be really, really easy for people to be able to fit in. All you got to tell them is what key the song is in. And that is a big pet peeve that a lot of people that go to jam sessions, they'll have somebody, and I'll say it's probably a lot of times it's because of nervousness. They've never jammed and they don't know what to do, so they go up there and they just start playing songs they know. They don't bother to tell the other band members what song it even is. And even if they do tell them, okay, we're going to do Spooky by Classics 4, what key are they playing it in, man? Are you playing it in the key of B minor? What key are you playing the song in? So the title of the song and the key you're playing it in gives the other information that's needed to the other jammers. Really, really important information to have them feel comfortable and play at their best. So 1-4-5 rule is applied very often to classic rock, blues, and country. Enough said about that. Software program skills. Okay. So I have a background in production with photography and video and audio. So I actually know how to use a lot of different programs. For the most part, over the years, I've used Photoshop. I've used GIMP as a replacement because Photoshop is subscription only now. It's a constant learning curve on technology changes. Video editing, I used to use ScreenFlow. Then I discovered DaVinci. DaVinci video editing software is fabulous. And then there's a lot of, and DaVinci is free. There's a free version that you can do just about anything on. There's a paid version you could do more, but the free version of DaVinci video editing software, check it out if you like to dabble in that. Studio One, PreSonus audio software, I use that a lot. I use, like I said, Canva is a free software program for designing poster templates and social media pieces. There's so many programs out there, but you have to be able to know how to use them. And it's a learning curve. On some of these software programs, it is an immense learning curve. So that feels like a lifelong study in itself. And then, of course, the very last thing for today's broadcast is other opportunities down at the very bottom. What do I mean by other opportunities? Well, in the 14 years that we have played at this one fish camp, and now we're playing in this other place, so we're running 2 jams simultaneously, different days of the week, obviously Thursday nights and Sunday afternoons. Some people like Sundays in the afternoon. They like daytime jams. Sometimes people work and they want to have a different opportunity, so they'll go to a weeknight jam. But the other opportunities, what that brings you to is the fact that you can actually get other work. People have come up to me and said, hey, I'm having a private party for a birthday or just a barbecue. Do you guys hire out? And if you have some business cards instead of a napkin with your phone number written on it, napkins don't do very well in a pocket, especially once they get wet. Business cards don't do that great when they get wet either, but they fare better than napkins. So other opportunities could be other jam locations. When we were playing at the fish camp, another bar and lounge came in one day and said, hey, I'd like you guys to host a jam at my place. And we jammed there for over a year, every Saturday for a year. So that year we were doing every Sunday at the fish camp and every Saturday at the other bar and lounge. And it's like, it can get time consuming, to say the least, but you take on the work that's important and comfortable to you. So now let's see. This broadcast has been going on. Let me see, how long has it taken me? 40 minutes. Wow, 40 minutes. 40 minutes of viewing time. So let's see here. And I'm only broadcasting this right now on one platform, so I will upload this to my other social media. And that's the other thing. If you're going to be doing live streams and trying to promote your jam, still shots are great. Taking videos and still shots at your events are really important, because if you're playing music, people want to hear the music. So videos are important. So I put these videos on YouTube and Rumble and X and Instagram and any other platforms that you can think of. So I guess this is just the question and answer part before I sign off. If you are watching right now and you have a question or a comment, I'm going to just play some background music for the moment and see if you post any comments or anything. And then I'll come back after this 1 3-minute blues song plays. Or it's 4 minutes and 12 seconds according to this. Let's see what happens. Okay, so as you can see in the comment field below, I said please feel free to post your comment or question right now, and I'll answer it before I conclude today's broadcast. And as always, please share, subscribe, follow, like, all that stuff. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. Now, I'm going to just put one final thing up here. Let's see. We'll just go over to, where is it? Oh, right there. Yeah, we'll take this thing down, put this thing back up. So if you are in the Central Florida area and you want to see firsthand what I'm talking about, how a live rock blues jam goes, feel free to, jot down some of that information. It's all right there, and that's the schedule for the next 3 months. Wow. So 1st and 3rd Thursday of December, 1st and 3rd of December, and January and February and March, and the address of where to go and all that good stuff. So if you were watching that video while I was taking a drink, this was not really that great to drink, but it's supposed to be healthy. So some of the videos that I have done are, like I said, DIY projects, homeowner acquired skills. Health things are usually important. And that was beet juice. That was the expression. That was because of drinking beet powder juice. It's supposed to be healthy. Tastes like dirt. I know that they from a marketing standpoint, once again, they'll say that it tastes earthy. That means it tastes like dirt. Okay, my friends, I'm going to close out of here and say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day.